there's no major changes or anything like that, but there's a whole bunch of 4s that I'm kind of giving the... kind of wondering if or when they leave. Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is Where Are They Now?, where I take a look at reviews that I put out a year ago in April or March, or one of those two. I'll have it in the title, I can't remember at this point. But basically taking a look at a whole bunch of games that I reviewed a year ago and trying to see how they've changed. As usual, I will have timestamps for everything, and as usual, I break this up into the following 3 sections. The games I have not played in the past year, either because they've left or because they were prototypes and I haven't gotten the final game yet. Alternatively, there's the second section, which is reviews that have not changed, that my opinion has not in any way, shape, or form changed. And then the third category is where my opinion has changed. It does not always mean that the ranking or numeric rating I gave a game changed, but it means that some degree of context in some way changed, and I'll update you around that. So, starting off with the ones that I have not changed at all, and there's going to be a whole bunch of these. I don't heavily go into detail on these because nothing changed. So I talk with them, that's about it. We have Cuzco. Cuzco is a fine game, a game that I think is good, but also a game I didn't have a rush to play again. It's a 2 out of 5, and it's one that I gave multiple plays, and then it left the collection. From there we have Solani and The Girl Who Made the Stars, 2 prototypes from Final Frontier Games, both fine games. I gave them both 3s. I slightly prefer Solani just because the playtime was more accessible. I liked both of them, but they're both 3 out of 5s to me, and they're not yet arriving, so I haven't had a chance to dive into them. We have Fer Finden from Haba. That one I gave a 2. It is a polyomino real-time game that I felt kind of combined genres in a way that didn't really love. It was fine. I had fun with it, but also don't need to play it again. We have Lost Empires, a 3 out of 5. This is from Colossal Games, 2-player head-to-head. Good game, but also a genre that I find these 2-player head-to-head lane battling game where you build a deck and all that stuff. There's just too many of them, and I find very few of them really stand out. There are some. Radlands is one. I'm looking at you. But most of these games I find just don't stand out for me. I enjoy them, but also don't need to play them again. We have Monster Hunter World from Steamforged, and you really enjoy that one. Looking forward to the final copy of that one. That was a 4 out of 5. Just I don't have it anymore, so I'll play it when it comes later. Just got Bard Sung in. Very excited about that one. We have Bone to Pick. Gave that one a 3 out of 5. That one is one that, again, I played the prototype, covered the prototype, and have not played it since. We have Hidden Leaders, a 4 out of 5. I really enjoy that one. I am curious how it holds up. It's one of those ones I already kind of... Sometimes I give a rating and I'm in the moment of enjoying it and I wonder if that rating will hold up. I do wonder if it'll hold up as a 4 or 5. I have to play it again. I remember enjoying it so much, but I also don't remember it being a 4 or 5, if that makes sense. So I have to play it again and see where it lies up. Ultimately, I'll see when my final copy does come in. It was really fun. I just don't remember it being a 4 to 5, if that makes sense. From there we have Save Patient Zero, another 4 to 5. This one I do think is a 4 to 5. Did not love the graphic design of that one, but I really love the puzzle. The 2 players, 2 teams, approaching a puzzle, a logic puzzle at the same time, trying to use their tools more effectively to come to the conclusion. I like logic puzzles, and this was really a pure, straight logic puzzle. Save Patient Zero from Helvetique. Their first Kickstarter, I believe. Maybe their first, but yeah, that was Save Patient Zero. From there we move on to the games that the review has not changed, of which we have 2. We have Aquatica, which is a 5 out of 5. It did not go higher because I don't have higher ratings than 5s. And then it also did not go lower because it's amazing and I love Aquatica. Aquatica I have continued to play. It's one of my regulars that I pull out whenever I'm interested in playing, well, games in general, because it's a great game. 3 players is my preferred play count. I like it at 2. I'm okay with it at 4. But I really enjoy Aquatica. Still loving it. It has not in any way gone down, and I still continue to play it. So Aquatica, 5 out of 5. Love that one. Honeybuzz is a 4 out of 5. This is from Elf Creek Games. Possibly my favorite Elf Creek game. I really enjoy Honeybuzz. I like it quite a bit as far as the puzzles. I backed the expansion as well. I'm excited for that one. It is a 4 out of 5, and it's pretty consistent. I like this one. I don't play it that often. It does not get tabled a lot, but it does get tabled, and I like the ranking. I'm currently fine where it is, and it's currently safe in my collection. From there we move on to a whole bunch of games that ratings may have changed, stayed the same. Some ratings have gone up, some have gone down, some have stayed the same, but the context around them has changed. Starting off with Marvel United, gave this one a 4 to 5, and it's definitely gone up to a 4.5 out of 5. I continuously dive down into Marvel United. I continuously am impressed by it. I tend to find, in general, the lighter a game is, the more biased I am against giving it a high rating, but sometimes light games can really show me that they have staying power. Part of my instinctive gut reaction is if I give a lighter game a higher number, I have too often been burnt by seeing that lighter game slowly just kind of fade out of my collection. A good example would be Splendor. Splendor's a great game, but over time it just faded out, and I found that to be the case. But there are 2 games on this particular video that they are on the lighter side, but have really held up and only improved for me. Marvel United is one of them. I love this game. It's moved to a 4.5. It's just so easy to pull out and play. Is it that deep? No. Arguably, if it didn't have the Marvel IP thrown on it, I wouldn't even have it in my collection at all. Arguably. But then again, that doesn't really matter. It does have the Marvel IP thrown on it, so the culmination of all the parts, the accessibility, the teamwork, the IP, the miniatures, the content, the variability, all of that really distills to a delightful experience that I'm really enjoying and has only gone up for me. From there we have Valor and Villainy, Minions of Mordak. Valor and Villainy, yeah, that's the one. Valor and Villainy, Minions of Mordak. That's a 4 to 5. Really enjoyed that one. Ultimately, it left the collection primarily because it was very long for, and I said this in the initial review, I like it a lot. It's a really fun game. Also, it's longer than I'd like for the experience it gave me, and I thought Ludwig's Labyrinth had the potential to be better. I say potential because I only had the chance to play Ludwig's Labyrinth once, so I can't really extrapolate heavily out from that, but I really liked Ludwig's Labyrinth. It gave me a lot of the things that Valor and Villainy did well, but it gave it to me in a shorter experience. And one that I saw, one from people who played it more than I did, I saw really well rated and looking forward to that one a lot. So I'm excited for Valor and Villainy, Ludwig's Labyrinth, and I gave up Minions of Mordak. Despite really liking it, it just ran a little long for the experience I got from it. From there we have In the Hall of the Mountain King. This is from Burnt Island Games. This is a 4 to 5. It was a 4 to 5. It is a 4 to 5. It has not changed, but the but part is just that I don't find myself pulling it off the shelf. I don't find myself ever really gravitating towards pulling this over something else. I really like it, don't get me wrong. It's one of those things where right now I'm actively in the process of purging from my collection a whole bunch of games, many of which are 4s or higher for me. For context, my rating scale is out of 5, and 4s are almost always games that stick around. Almost always. The sad reality, though, is that I play a lot of games, or the happy reality, it's not really a complaint, and the consequence of that is that means that constantly more and more I play great games that I realize that I have too many great games and I have to make choices because my time has to go towards the games I like the most, not just the games I like. I'm not ready to get rid of the Hall of the Mountain King yet. I know that because I took it off the shelf and put it in my pile of 4s that were leaving the collection, and then I was like, nope. Nope, back on the shelf you go. Which is something I've done in the past with a variety of games, where sometimes I try to get rid of games, and sometimes I let them go, and other times I find myself compelled to hold on to it. For right now, in the Hall of the Mountain King, I find myself compelled to hold on to it, but I'm still talking about it here because I don't table it that often. I think I may have played it one time since I reviewed it a year ago, and I like it. I love the cascading. The center polyomino puzzle, I think other polyomino games do it better, but the cascading resources is something fairly unique to this game, and it's one of the reasons I have a harder time letting it go. So it stays for now, but the context here is, since the last time I reviewed it, it's gone into a little bit of a wavering mode. From there we have After the Empire, down over here. Another 4 that might leave. After the Empire is another 4. It's a great game. Really like it. This is a slightly different problem. I have to play it. I have to play After the Empire again because I remember how much I liked it, but I don't pull it off the shelf that often, but it had such good worker placement and then tower defense adjacent. It really was a very good experience. Possibly runs a little long, which could be a bit of the issue. I am not ready to get rid of it yet. That's the same thing I'll say before. I'm not ready to get rid of it. I need to hold on to it. But like in the Hall of the Mountain King, it has drifted into the but I'm not playing it, so should I keep it or not? Again, similar to the Hall of the Mountain King, I may have played this. I think I definitely played this at least once, maybe twice since I reviewed it. It's a great game from Grey Fox. Really, really like it. But if I'm not playing it, then I have to put it into that little wavering spot. Next up, we have Merchants of Magick, which is not on the table. Merchants of Magick is another 4. That one I don't see. It's another 4 that stayed a 4. So we have a whole bunch of games here in this particular video that the review hasn't really changed, but they're definitely moved to more of a danger zone. And Merchants of Magick is the most recent of those, where it's another 4 that might leave because I'm not tabling it. Roll and rights in general are very hotly, not contested, but a very filled category in my collection. We have a lot of roll and rights, and there's a good 4 or 5 roll and rights that I keep looking at and debating whether they'll stick around, because sure, I like you, but am I pulling you off the shelf compared to Ganshan Clever, compared to Three Sisters, compared to Fleet the Dice Game, compared to Hadrian's Wall? I like Merchants of Magick a lot. I'm not ready to get rid of it yet. It's short enough and accessible enough that maybe I'll be able to justify continuously holding on to it. But again, same exact thing as these two. So it's in that danger zone just because I have other games that I find myself pulling off the shelf over them. That's going to be Merchants of Magick. And then lastly, Lastly, we have Canvas over here on the table. This is going to be right up there with Marvel United. Not in the danger zone at all, just the opposite. This was one that I originally reviewed as a 3 out of 5. Canvas was a 3 out of 5 for me when I first covered it. I liked it, but I thought it was too simple. So I was like, it's fun, but too simple. And like Canvas, like Marvel United, like Marvel United, it has shown me over time that it is consistently one that I pull out, that I play, that I enjoy. It has enough strategy that it is genuinely compelling in terms of the puzzle it gives you and the challenge it gives you, while being accessible to the most bare minimum entry levels. So I just find it does a great job across the board at hitting both those genres. I know one person in all my game groups who does not enjoy it, and he can go jump in a lake. Okay, that's what I'm saying. He just doesn't have to play it. There's plenty of other games you can play. We'll play After the Empire. He likes that. I know that. But that's basically that is the situation. These are the games I reviewed a year ago. These are where they're doing, how they're holding up, all of that. A lot of games that haven't changed is going to be the norm for prototypes. Someone did suggest at one point, which is something I will do, which is having a separate series of Where Are They Now, kind of specifically devoted to Kickstarter games that have arrived, because those often don't really fall into the yearly look back timeline, because half the time, or more than half the time, they're not here in the yearly look back. So I might be doing a full separate Where Are You Now series or segment or adjacent for, hey, here are like 10 Kickstarter games I've reviewed, and here's how they're doing so far. I'll say this much, Dead Reckoning is absolutely holding up. That thing is amazing. Just played it last night. It's so good. Completely holds up to my initial review of it way back when. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed another series of Where Are They Now? And as always, have a good one.